Hi guys, welcome to another movie crew review. Today we'll be reviewing The Running Man.
The movie stars Glen Powell and Josh Brolin.
So Ben Richards, trying to save money and get his daughter the help she needs, competes in The Running Man. 30 days to win $1 billion. We're going to get into a review today and I'm going to start us off. So I thoroughly enjoyed this film in terms of the whole action aspect. I really enjoyed the 1987 film with Arnold Schwarzenegger. I think that for me, that was like one of my highlight films for him in that kind of period. So I really liked the Richard Dawson character, paid the producer and the host all in one. So for me, this film, I was really intrigued to see, especially Glen Powell, Top Gun Maverick alum. So I was intrigued. I think the things they get right are probably the actions in terms of there's a big scene where they're at a hotel, explosions going off, guns shooting everywhere, and all those kind of little things in terms of the action side. I think Michael Cera's character, great addition. Good to see him back teaming up with Edgar Wright since Scott Pilgrim versus the World. So I did enjoy that. But I would say that for me, the camera work didn't really feel that much like an Edgar Wright film. I was expecting it more to have things like in Shaun of the Dead, like when he's making breakfast and getting ready for the day, and how, how that camera work really kind of came into its own. The things that make it an Edgar Wright film as such, I think that even the music choices could have been a bit more to his style, but overall, I think it was done in a way that was enjoyable and is a good watch. I think the runtime, to be honest, is a bit long, and it does seem to prolong the film. You kind of got it in three sections, and there are sections in the film that I wouldn't say are too long, but probably could have been cut down. So it's about half hour longer than the 87 Running Man. I don't really think the extra half hour adds too much to it. So personally, I would have liked the shorter film. But yeah, I think the casting was good. You have these three Running Men contestants, and as the film shows you, you have the dumb one, the brash one, and then the final guy. And so we're following Ben, the final guy. And he's trying to do everything for the right reasons, and that's what thought was good. It's a bit different from the story and the Arnie character in terms of he's not a criminal. It follows the book, the Stephen King book, a lot more closely this time around. But the aesthetics of the world make it looking like dystopian, futuristic, works quite well. So I think it was a good film. I expected a bit more out of it. It's just hard to explain from
Mm.
seeing the trailer. Especially Edgar Wright. If you were to not tell me who the director was of this film, I wouldn't have said Edgar Wright. And that was something that honestly surprised me a bit. I would have thought that, especially, camera styles, even seeing the trailer had a bit of that kind of camera shooting style. So I expected to see a bit more of it. But yeah, overall, I think if they, had probably shortened the runtime a bit, I probably would have enjoyed it a lot more and thought a bit more highly of it. So yeah. Moon?
Also, I'm a review by, I think Glen Powell is a star, man. He's really good. His physique is amazing and he can act and like he can do the serious roles as well, like serious part in the movie. So yeah, props to him. I think he's growing on me and I want to see him more. And Josh Brolin is Josh Brolin. So yeah, he's there for not a lot, but he's that evil menacing guy. And I think Coleman Domingo, I don't know if I've seen him before, I'm not sure, but he was great too. So the acting is great here. The action was fine as well, but like John, you said, this doesn't feel like an Edgar Wright movie. I'm a big fan of him, and when I got to know that he's directing The Running Man, so I've seen few bits of the first movie, but never sat down and watched the whole thing. But I was still very, very much was excited. And apart from maybe one scene when Glen Powell is back of the boot of a car, like you can tell that's sort of Edgar Wright, but that's about it. This could be any director that doesn't have the flair that his amazing editing of the movies. definitely not there. And he has this way when he writes and directs the movie that action and comedy they merge together perfectly. But here tone is so off. We will get a scene which is very serious, and then you'll have a sort of a funny moment, but I didn't laugh. Not even once. I never laughed once. So tonally, this movie is really messy in my opinion. It's just everywhere. Like even there's a good action scene. I know because they have the show, the Running Man show is like running, so they have to have commentary. But I would have just for a good action scene, just keep the commentary so I can at least focus on the action. But we'll always have commentary most of the times, and it's just like annoying me a bit. The movie sort of gets better at the end because it's all action and it's pretty well done. But when you expect, like, when you want an Edgar Wright movie, like the bar is so high, and I just bigger it's a bit of a disappointment for me because, like I said, he I think he's a pioneer. He's one of the best directors out there, and you just expect way more out of a movie from him. So maybe it's just my expectations were way too high, and then this tonal problem I have with the movie, yeah, just it's a big letdown for me, unfortunately.
Yeah, I have to agree. I don't think it's that you being let down in terms of your expectations being too high. I just think that this time around, I don't know if it was the bigger budget maybe that
Could be.
changed it, but even like we were talking before about all the like
Yeah,
things. Like
exactly.
one of my favorite films that he's done is Hot Fuzz, and just the way that it's shot and the way that the main character is so deadpan and serious, and the comedy works around him, but it's still like a good, serious action film, and has that's the kind of thing that I was expecting in this kind of film. The Ben Richards character to be serious, the people around him to be yes comedic, but it it kind of has more like an idiocracy feel in terms of that film.
Yeah.
It's the world's kind of like that, and in terms of Coleman Domingo's character, I think that's probably the one thing I would say is an improvement on the first film in terms of the 1987 one. When I say the first one, splitting the characters and having the producer as like a background guy that's just off on the back, and having Coleman Domingo, really ham it up for the crowd, really get them rolled up. And he stole the show. Every time he was on screen, he's just so energetic. I was just so interested to watch him. And even the way that the film ends, everybody, yeah, gets what they get. But I think that his character just worked really well. So, I mean, yeah, the Josh Brolin, he's, in it for a minute kind of thing. He's there as the antagonist, and what happens to him is pretty much what you expect. But I think that even though they're the main like three characters, everybody else is kind of just in like throwaway positions. So whereas in the first film there was I keep saying the first film, but I mean in the 1987 film, even though it's very different to the book, it seems to have more stakes, and it just you seem to the relationships and the mission that they're on seems to be more defined. Whereas in this film, it kind of he's trying to do the right thing, but at the same time, it doesn't really feel that important. If that makes sense. Like they're trying to do this whole justice mission throughout the film and use him as a stepping stone to get the people to rebel. But at the same time, I don't know what it was, but it just didn't feel as impactful as it should have.
Yeah, they sort of gave him a backstory.
Yeah.
But like it's just there, I don't really care about it. And then they sort of, oh, is it real or not? What happened to his family? I just knew like it's not real. So, but like you said, like Hot Fuzz, like one of my favorite movies as well. Like just like Simon Pegg is so like serious that fan, and we have Nick Frost, and he's making all the funny jokes in it. So they bounce off each other really well. Here he's alone, and that's fine. We get Michael Cera for in a bit for a
Yeah.
few minutes, but I think the movie was just way already this I didn't connect much, so it was way too like far from being to be able to like come back and have fun with it. So yeah, This movie, like as in a general, it sort of reminded me like we talk about wrestling a lot. Is it fake or not? So the Running Man show, people think it's fake or is it real? Sort of. I like that concept. I would have enjoyed more if they maybe develop that thing more because a lot of people like at the end they were first rebelling against him and then they started cheering for him and I don't see why they're cheering for him. I was so disconnected why they're doing this. And I would have loved if they actually explored that more. Maybe if they made this movie this long, maybe injected that bit more so I could have enjoyed it a bit more.
Yeah, I mean, that's where again the '87 one that just really elevates that kind of aspect of you see the crowd changing from hating this guy to loving this guy, rooting for him. You see it in gradual steps because they lean more into the game show aspect of it. And I think that also the reason why you end up liking the Richards character is because you slowly dislike the Killian character, the character that Josh Brolin plays in this film, as opposed to when you come into this film, you kind of start off and is very
He's
abrupt and abrasive, whereas and because he's not the host in this film, you never see that positive side. Whereas in the '87 film, you kind of see, he's like the serious, executive producer in the backstage, but then up front, he's like family man, every man, really positive, real, happy, upbeat, trying to give everybody prizes away. So you can see why they love him or why they turn on him. Whereas this random executive, what happens at the end of the film, it kind of just feels like a snap change. And it's not as impactful as the other film is. All right, well, we're going to get into our scores. So, Moon, how many Running Men out of 10?
I guess 6 Running Men out of 10.
Yeah, I'll be similar to Moon, 6.5 Running Men out of 10. Thanks, guys, for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, check out our page, and catch us for the next one. Ciao.